Chihiro and her family is moving to a new home, when her dad takes a wrong turn and leads them to a tunnel, which on the other side welcomes an old clock tower, a beautiful landscape, and the dried out riverbed. A delicious smell coming from nowhere made her idiot and inquisitive dad uncover more about the place. They passes through a street of creepy deserted restaurants and ended in a restaurant feasted with delicious food, but has no tenants in it. Certain that they would pay afterwards, her parents gobbles up everything. Chihiro, who is anxious about her surroundings, declines to eat and just wanders around the area. As she wanders around, a boy appears next to her and pushes her away, telling her that she has to leave the area before it gets dark. Chihiro swiftly runs back to where her parents were, while ghastly figures comes out of everywhere. To her shock, her parents turn into huge gobbling pigs. Not sure whether the pigs are her parents, Chihiro runs back to where they first started and surprisingly runs into a wide body of water which is supposed to be a dried out riverbed. A moment later, she is fading away that she runs in a corner and starts crying, not knowing what to do. The boy she saw at the bridge comes to her and lets her eat something not to turn into a spirit. Once she is able to feel her hands, the boy pulls her close and started running through alleys, cold storage room and pig barns. When they reach the bridge, she has to hold her breath as they cross it for the spell not to break or they will see her. Chihiro almost makes it, when a filthy little frog leaps in front of them, which startles the hell out of her that she takes a breath. The frog recognizes her as a human. But the boy in an instant shuts the frog up in a black bubble and makes their quick escape. After their escape, Haku leaves her an instruction how to get a job to avoid the evil witch turning her into a brute. Chihiro follows what Haku said, when she accidentally descends a steep wooden stairway that leads her to the room where the old man Kamaji works. She asks the old man for a job when just in time, Lin comes in with food and is shocked to see her. The old man introduced Chihiro as his granddaughter, and asks Lin to take her to the witch. The woman at first declines, for the witch will kill her, but the old man was swift to offer a prize to do the job, a charcoal roasted lizard. As they headed towards Yubaba's office, a frogman comes out of the lift and notices that Lin stinks like a human. The woman uses the charcoal roasted lizard to divert the attention of the frogman for Chihiro to escape. Chihiro arrives in front of a door when it suddenly opens up and pulls her in, which brings her in front of a creepy big-headed old woman. Upon recognizing it as Yubaba, Chihiro asks her for a job right away. Yubaba zips her mouth to shut her up. Yubaba turned curious how she made it that far that she unzips her mouth, but Chihiro didn't mind the question and asks again for a job, which irritates the senile out of Yubaba. It makes Yubaba shout out of anger that wakes up the gigantic baby. Yubaba goes to the huge baby to pacify it and lets Chihiro sign a contract to quiet her down. When Yubaba takes away the contract, she removes some of Chihiro's name and tells her that her name from then on is Sen. Haku then brings Sen to her fellow workers but is disliked because of her stinky human scent. Haku tells them that in 3 days eating their food, her scent will disappear. Sen is then assigned to Lin, who is amazed how the little girl pulls it off. When Yubaba left the bathhouse, Haku whispers to Sen in her dreams to meet him at the bridge. A odd creepy looking spirit stares at her as she crosses the bridge that time, that when she reaches the other side, it disappeared. When Haku finds her, he leads her to the piggery and shows her her poor pig parents. Haku reminds her with a card that she is Chihiro and not Sen, which she almost forgets. Haku lets her eat to recover her strength that Sen can't help but burst in tears because of her parents' situation. She then thanks Haku and goes off. That when she looks back, she sees a flying dragon. Yubaba flies back home. Sen dumps her pail of water out to the garden, when the odd spirit she saw in the bridge is standing in the rain. She asks the spirit if he's getting wet but doesn't answer, that she leaves the door open for him without her knowing that the spirit follows her in. They were expecting for their first customer that Lin sends Sen to get some soap token from the reception. The frogman refuses to give Sen a token, that the odd spirit sneaks one for Sen. Not long after, the odd spirit brings even more soap token to Sen. Meanwhile the bathhouse is troubled by the coming in of the stinky mudpile spirit. Sen leads the guest to the big bathtub. With enough soap tokens, Sen was able to wash off the mud from the guest body. Sen feels a thorn that sticks to the spirit's body that when Sen and Lin pull it out, turns out to be a bicycle piled among other garbages. This clears the feeling of the mud spirit, which turns out to be an old river spirit. When the mud is cleared, bits of golds are scattered everywhere. The river spirit thankfully flies out of the bathhouse, leaving a piece of gift to Sen. That same night, one ugly little frog gets inside the bathtub to see whether there's gold left on the floor. The odd black spirit, who happens to secretly hides there, lures him with bits of gold and swallows him. The next guy who comes in is offered golds and is told to wake everybody up. Meanwhile, Sen goes out to the piggery and takes with her the gift given by the river spirit, but when she gets there, she is troubled she couldn't find them. Sen wakes up realizing it was just a dream. In the balcony, a white dragon is being chased by paper birds, and it flies towards Sen, breaking through inside their room. Sen then closes the window seal to avoid the paper birds from entering. The bleeding dragon flies out of the window towards Yubaba's office. Sen, understanding that the dragon is his friend Haku, she goes after him while one paper bird sticks on her clothes. She takes the elevator but is not allowed by the frogman. When she turns around, she runs into the odd spirit, who offers her a handful of golds. She refuses the offer and leaves, which upsets the odd black spirit that he eats the frogman and the lady. She climbs the ladder that leads to the window of Yubaba's office. Overhearing Yubaba's voice, Sen runs inside a room and hides under the pillows. Yubaba digs through to find the baby, whom she calls Bo. When Yubaba leaves Bo, he grabs Sen and threatens her to break her arm if she won't play with him, but releases her when Sen scares him with a blood-stained hand. Sen goes out of the room and finds Haku bleeding. When the giant baby comes out of the room in tantrums, a disappointed creepy old woman who looks exactly like Yubaba comes out of the paper bird and turns the giant baby into a fat mouse, the hawk into a filthy fly, and the three dismembered heads into a replica of the giant baby. The old woman then introduces herself as Zenaba, the twin of Yubaba. She calls Haku a thief who stole her magical seal, that he bleeds because of its curse. Haku snaps his tail that shreds the paper bird, which makes Zenaba disappear. Haku and Sen fall through a hole, almost landing on some evil spirit, but Haku manages to fly through towards the boiler room, where he collapses. Sen makes Haku eat a part of the river spirit's gift and pushes it inside his throat, which makes Haku spit out the magical seal and a black slug, which Sen squashed in an instant. Sen wants to return the seal to Zenaba, that the old man Kamaji takes out his decades-old ticket and gives it to Sen, warning her that it's a one-way train. Before leaving for Swamp Bottom, Sen decided to meet Nofus. Sen tries to convince him to go back home to his parents, but the odd spirit replies that he is alone. Sen persuades him to eat the remaining part of the river spirit gift, which causes the odd spirit to spit out what he ate, including the woman, the frogman, and the ugly little frog, as he chases Sen. Sen gets on board the train, including Nofus, and gets off at the swamp bottom. When they arrive, Sen returns the magical seal to Zenaba. Zenaba says that the mouse and the fly can change whenever they want. Not long after, Haku picks them up. Zenaba forgives Haku with a condition to protect Chihiro, and wanted Nofus to stay behind. Chihiro thanks her granny Zenaba, then she and her friends ride at the back of Haku, and fly back home. When they get back in the bathhouse, Yubaba prepares Sen a test that she must pick out her parents out of the pigs in a row. Sen guesses it right that her parents is not one of those pigs, which vanishes her contract. Chihiro thanks everyone, then runs off with Haku. Haku takes Chihiro to the dried-out riverbed. When they arrive, he promises to see Chihiro once again, which Chihiro seems to look forward to. While at the clock tower, her parents are waiting for her, waving. The movie ends Chihiro joining her parents, who seems not to remember anything.